What's going on, everyone? First level of the wrist sprain protocol here is your wrist circles. So I'll start doing them, palm down, palm up, five one direction and five the other direction. Scientific or workout name for these is called like wrist cars, you know? So here I have just an empty hand wrist car, not completely clenching my fist, but keeping it a little bit open. And now you see here, I'm gonna grab a lacrosse ball. You can do this with any side, any tennis ball, lacrosse ball. I have my little kids use golf balls because they fit their hand better most of the time. But yeah, so these are, wrist cars with a lacrosse ball. Having something in your hand allows your wrist joint to open up a little bit more, and you can fully, work all the tendons and cartilage and range of motion in that wrist while holding that ball. Honestly, whenever my wrists were really weak, I would do 100 of these both directions in a day. 10 sets of 10 both directions, right? If you're not willing to put in that extra work for this rehab and joint strengthening stuff, then your joints will never really be as strong as they could be or as they need to be. All right, so next wave, after you get done with, after you get better with your wrist cars, empty and with a ball, you're gonna go to wrist flosses. Now you see me wrapping this band around my wrist. Basically, it's just making more resistance, right? Doing regular wrist circles, now doing them, going from regular circles to now doing them with a band, hugging your wrist, it increases the resistance and your wrist has to work that much harder to do that simple movement, right? So I'll do, again, another 100 a day, both sides. And then I'll even hit flexions and extensions. I'll flick my wrist up and down, 100, both sides, 100 flexions, 100 extensions. Guys, if this is important to you, do it. This stuff is simple. I used to do this stuff for 10 minutes, 15 minutes while I'm eating dinner, each hand. Super simple. Now right here, we have banded wrist pulls. Now this is definitely a PT thing. If you've ever went to the PT for your wrist, they probably had you do some of these. Notice how I'm going super slow, right? I'm pulling that band in, keeping my elbows super tight, right? Now I got my palms down. The first position was palms in to my body or palm to the side. And now second position is palm down, still keeping those nice, slow and controlled reps, keeping my elbow tight and my arm at a 90-degree angle, making sure the band isn't going too low or too high above my elbow, keeping my technique really solid. And now position number 3, your palm goes up and you're gonna do the same thing. This is gonna strengthen the pinky side of that wrist. Super, super important, especially with the arm pronated or turned over. Now, as you see, the band is still pulling from the same direction, but now I go to my other hand, right? Using my other hand, now they're pulling the band out. Palm up, pulling the band away from my body. So you see, this is just one side of this exercise. After I get done with all 3 positions on both hands on this side, I'm gonna go to the other side, right? I'm gonna just turn around and start doing the exact same thing from the other side of my body. Guys, this exercise is really good. Next level, we have stick work. You see, I got a light, just aluminum stick here, a broom. Guys, now this stick is like maybe half a pound. I want you guys to really have some weight on your stick. If you're younger, a younger athlete, or you have, not the best wrist, use a light stick, right? Use the full length of that stick. But if it's too much, you can always half up a little bit, right? You can cut the length of that stick in half. That's basically like cutting the weight of the stick in half, right? And then as your wrist gets stronger, you can start lengthening out again, right? You can start moving your hand back to the edge of that stick. So yeah, once you can do these wrist turns or rotations with the full length of the stick, then you really know you're getting some nice wrist strength in that turn. And so now we have stick lifts right here. Notice how my arm is super straight by my elbow. I'm locking my arm out and I'm just focusing on using my wrist muscles to lift that stick, right? Just my wrist muscles. And again, I'm showing you here, you can heighten up, right? You can make this drill easier by moving your hand upward on the stick, right? Not using the full length, but just moving up a little bit. Makes it a lot easier. Now, you see we did stick turns and rotations. We did some stick lifts from the front. Now we're doing stick lifts from the back, right? You want to make sure you're hitting all sides of this wrist. Do not forget any side. We want to make sure this wrist is super, super balanced. For all my B-boys out there, my gymnasts, my cheerleaders, my tumblers, people that do back handsprings a lot, you guys need strong wrists, right? Keeping my elbows super locked and just going through the rhythm of this lift, letting the stick tap the floor every time I go down. So now let's level it up even more. We're still doing our stick work, but now we're doing circles, right? Trying to keep that arm from leaving the side too much. Just using our range of motion, just turning that wrist as far out as it can get. Now, if you have good ranges of motion, the stick will hit your butt, or tap your leg. That is no worries, right? If you can move your wrist that far, that is super okay. Don't worry about it. And now, just like we did from the front side with our lifts and the back side with our lifts, we're going to do the front side and the back side with our circles. Same thing. I'd do 100 of these. 10 sets of 10. 10 going to the left, then 10 going to the right. From the front, from the back. Yeah, guys. And these take a lot of time, so find any time to do these. If you really want to bulletproof your wrist and have really stable and healthy wrists as you go through your career, you have to make sure that you are putting the time in to do these things. Look, so I'm showing some bad technique right here. My wrist is going a little far away from my body there. But then I start tightening it up. There you go. Start tightening it up. So yeah, guys, pay attention to your technique. Very nice. Let's get it. And now the next one. So the next one here is just dumbbell circles. You're going to see I do these dumbbell circles with my palm down. 4 different positions, right? First one's palm down. And the second one's going to be palm up. The third position is going to be palm to the side, right, with thumb up. And then last position is going to be pinkies up. All right, so you see me, I'm finishing up my palms down, and now I'm going to palm up right here. I'm going to show you. Forgive me, guys, this is an old video. I've been coaching for about 10 years, guys, so putting all this stuff together, it's all finally starting to make sense. I've helped at least 100 athletes with their wrists alone, right? So yeah, you guys, these drills are definitely going to give you a lot of benefits, a lot of stability, and a lot of strength. So finishing with that palm up. If you saw my face just then, this stuff is not easy. It gets hard. Oh, look at me laughing. So now my palm is to the side. My thumb is up to the ceiling. Oh, I forgot that I was talking this much in this video. Sorry, guys. Now I'm going the other way. Yep. And so now last position is pinkies up. My elbow is pointing towards the ceiling. My pinky's pointing towards the ceiling. And I'm doing those nice wrist circles. Again, guys, if you really want this to be great, at least 5 sets of 10, right? I'll say at least 5 sets of 5 both way, right? 10 reps total both ways, 5 both ways. All right, next level. After you get good at your dumbbell circles and your wrist pain starts to, your wrist soreness starts to alleviate, you can go to flexions and extensions, right? Now, in the front of this video, I pointed at the palm of my hand. You want to keep your knuckles on the floor while you do these extensions, right? If you can't push from the floor, you can start high and then come down to the floor slowly. Notice how I have my feet off of the floor. You can do these with your toes on the floor, but as soon as you get strong enough, start trying to pick those toes up off the floor. That's gonna put more weight and more load on your wrist. So now these are 4 positions, guys. I have my fingers forward, fingers to the side, to the outside, and now I have my fingers back, right? Trying to keep my elbows as straight as possible and really pushing through these movements. Now I'm gonna do my fingers inside. So yep, you're trying to do maybe 5 to 10 reps in all 4 positions, right? Notice how I'm starting high and then slowly coming down. This variation is my weakest one, so I had to put some work on that one. All right, so we did first 4 positions was palm down. Now we're doing the same 4 positions, but with palm up. This is extending your wrist, right? This is your wrist extensors. There you go. Keeping the back of the hand, the back of your finger knuckles flat on that floor. Like, here you go, pointing at them there. Again, if these are heavy or if these are really hard, you can start at the top and then come down slowly. Put those toes down on the floor in the back to make it a little easier on you. Super slow, trying to keep those elbows as straight as possible. There you go. And yeah, guys, that is your flexions and extensions. I think I forgot to go fingers back on my extensions here. So make sure you do the 4th position as well. Okay, don't forget that one. Fingers to the front, fingers to the outside, fingers to the inside, and then fingers back. This one's definitely gonna give you great wrist. Another exercise in the same phase, in the same level of difficulty, fist rockers. So now we're getting into body weight stuff, right? On our wrists and our fist. So the stability has to be really good here. I'm starting with my fist in the middle of the mat, directly under my shoulders. Notice how I'm, just doing push-up variations, bending my elbows. I'm rocking forward, lifting my pinky knuckles and my ring knuckles off the mat. Then I rock backward, lifting my index finger and my middle finger knuckle off the mats. So you're just rocking back and forth. So you see here, I go to a 1 leg up, 1 knee down position. So I'm almost at a full push-up. And then here, you see me at a full push-up, rocking forward, rocking back and bending, rocking forward, bending, and then doing a full push-up, right? So you can start with your knees in. You can start with your fist high, in front of your shoulders on the mat. That's super easy. Then you can bring them back a little bit. Bring them to like the middle of the mat, closer to right underneath your shoulders. And then you can bring them behind your shoulders, right? Like super close to your knees. This is a lot of leverage right here. A lot of load on the wrist. And so we're making it, guys. By this point, your wrist should not be giving you many issues. Your wrist should not be giving you many issues at all. Now right here we have dumbbell flexions and extensions. Notice how I have that space in my hand as I grab the dumbbell. I'm not grabbing this dumbbell with a closed fist, right? I want to, kind of like my hand was when I had the lacrosse ball, I want to leave some space in between my grip so I can fully articulate the joints in my wrist. Right, so I'm keeping that dumbbell really far, by my fingertips almost. So I started with my palm down. Now I have my palm up. Notice how I'm using my full range of motion, letting that dumbbell come all the way down. So I just did some fast reps there, showing you how not to do them. Do not do these reps too fast. Again, I want that dumbbell hanging through the fingers. I do not want this too tight. But yeah, guys, I used to sit here when I was really focusing on my wrist, and I would do up to, 20 reps in a set, and I would do, 3 sets. It would take me some time, but, on my off days, Saturdays or not practice days, I would do these. So you see here, I have the dumbbell in like my thumb and index finger, working on my thumb side. All right, moving that wrist to the side, lifting it up through my thumb joint. This is really important. This is super important for turning, right? Boxers, combat people, martial artists, if you can't get your pinky and thumb side of your wrist super strong, then your turnover for your punches is not going to be as good as it could be, right? As soon as you hit somebody with a awkward body shot, your wrist is going to hurt. So you might want to, prioritize this. This wrist sprain protocol, This wrist sprain protocol is, guys, it's your bread and butter, guys. Grab that dumbbell in between your thumb and your index finger again, and you're going to turn your elbow pit to your knee, right? And just focus on the back side, the pinky side of your wrist. So yeah, guys, if you do this wrist sprain protocol the way I'm telling you to, you will never have to worry about serious wrist stuff again, unless it's catastrophic, like you had a major fall, or you really did something bad. Like, no minor sprains should really affect you for more than a week or two if you follow this wrist program accordingly. But so I'm doing the kettlebell turns now. Notice how I'm doing it on a flat bench. This gives you good work, especially if you're using a 10 to 15 pound kettlebell, but it's really limiting, right? I can't turn my wrist all the way over. So you see me moving the bench right here. I'm gonna show you how to get deeper into this, right? So I'm gonna use the edge of my bench here, and I'm gonna let that kettlebell hang off the side, right? Notice the difference in my face. There's so much more stimulus and focus that is needed to, not let the kettlebell fall, keep my elbow and wrist in proper technique and alignment, as well as, controlling this weight, right? That's a 15 pound kettlebell I think I have right there. So yeah, guys, if doing regular kettlebell turns are easy, go ahead and start letting that bad boy fall off the side of the bench. You see, I go to my next position here. I was going outside, so now I'm going inside turn. I gotta say, guys, this stuff feels good, especially when you have, really strong wrists, but you don't prioritize the stretching as much and the turning. Oh, these hanging kettlebell turns feel delicious. So I'm moving this bench back here. This is a long vid, I forgot. Turning my camera. Jeez, I thought I cut this out of that video. Wow, that's horrible. Hurry up, dude. And so what? Showing you guys the difference in my hands here. My left side, you can tell it fires a lot slower than my right side, and it takes more concentration on grip for me to get this kettlebell moving. Look at that, right? Like automatically, you saw it. But it's still easy for me, so I'll venture up into difficulty and let this kettlebell, hang off the side. But yeah, guys, this is your wrist sprain protocol. Really excited for you guys. I try not to give too much information here, right? I try to give you guys a couple of reps. I didn't want to tell you guys too much, because if you do this stuff wrong, you will throw your wrist out of balance, right? So use this video and caution. I am not a health professional. Only do this protocol if you are not feeling pain immediately, right? If your pain is below a 5, right, it should not be sharp. You can only use this protocol effectively if you're not feeling sharp pains, right? So guys, again, if you use this program too early, it's going to do more damage than it is good. You got to make sure that your wrist soreness is around a 3 or a 4, right? Minimum. I need no wrist pain at all if you're going to do this stuff, guys. So yeah, this is your wrist sprain protocol. Use it. This is really going to get you elite with wrist strength and balance. This covers turn, extension, flexion, pronation, supination, all types of stuff. So guys, have fun with this. Sorry for the long video, but I feel like you guys are really gonna like it, especially after you get past your wrist cars and your wrists start really getting stronger and your pain starts disappearing. You guys are gonna love it. So hit your boy Coach AD up for more tips. You guys, if you want to get this protocol programmed out for you and you actually get a program made, please shoot me an email. My email's in the description, and get in touch with me. Let's get you going. Peace.